Shalom, and all praise to the Most High Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem Rakak Wadash, and double honor to our apostles and elders here at Great Millstone for teaching this truth that's gone all around the earth. And shalom to the hopeful elect. It's your brother Atazawan from the Great Millstone here in St. Louis, and I'm going to give, I guess you will, a testimony about a dream that I had this morning, and I generally don't do lessons about any dreams that I may have. I don't dream that often, okay, but I had a very pleasant dream. The wee hours of the morning, I couldn't sleep, but I was listening to, because I couldn't sleep, I grabbed my phone and went to YouTube and caught the elder Apostle Gabar's lesson on his visit to a Ghanaian restaurant. And I was listening to his lesson, and I guess I drifted off back to sleep. And I had a very emotional dream that I met the elder apostle. I've never met any of the apostles physically in person. But I've had dreams before where I met Elder Apostle Tahar and I believe Elder Apostle Rakha was in the dream as well. That was some years ago. But this morning I had a dream, I guess in my mind and the spirit, while listening to Elder Apostle Gabar's lesson. I fell into a dream where I met the elder apostle, and I can't exactly explain how I got there in the dream or what the purpose of the dream was in terms of why I was there with him. Obviously, it was like just increasing, I guess, in the spirit and in the strength of the word. And the long and short of it is during the time in the dream, it was brief, but it seemed, you know how dreams are. They're brief, but they seem like they take a long time. But anyway, it was so emotional because in the dream, the elder apostle was so humble, and I can't remember what we discussed in the dream, but I know that it was time for me to go back home. And he extended his hand, and I grabbed him, or his arm. You know how we salute each other. And I said, Shalom, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Bashem Rakakadash, Barakatah. And he gave me the same salute, excuse me. And I felt a sense of peace, right? Humility. And he was so humble in the dream. Y'all forgive me. And I was feeling very emotional in the dream. And I noticed that I embraced him so hard that I didn't even want to let him go. And there was a knock at the door because we were in an apartment. Like it was like a New York City apartment. And I grew up in New York City, so it was familiar to me in the dream that that's where I was. But anyway, a knock at the door comes, and I go to the door, open the door, and it's my wife. And she was like, "Are you ready to go now?" And she had it was like we were young again. I've been married 34, 35 years. And it was like she was young again. And I guess I was young in the dream as well. But, and she had the children with her. And it was like they were young in the dream, to the point that they were like toddlers almost. And then I noticed, like, I got three, all my kids are grown. right? And they live on their own, they're all grown with their own places and jobs and so on and so forth. Anyway, um, there was another child, right? And it was another girl. All right, I have a son and two daughters. And I was looking at the child and I'm like, I didn't know we had three daughters. And it was my daughter because, with a father, your seed, okay? And and my wife just smiled at me and said, "Well, you were gone, so you didn't know." And in the dream, the youngest child was like maybe 8 months old, around that age where kids begin to pull up on things to try to walk and all that kind of thing. So, and I could still see her face. She had like a little raspberry birthmark over her left eye, and I was like, "Oh, she has a birthmark." And I noticed that the child she didn't open her left eye, and I was like, "Why doesn't she open her left eye?" And my wife was like, "She does. She just got it closed right now, like she was peeping at me out of the other eye, as if it was her first time seeing me." And then she opened both her eyes, and it was just the most joyous feeling that I had, and so now the other kids were like conversing, if you will, with the elder apostle, and they were sitting on the couch, and one, you know how kids are, they get on the couch, they kind of want to try to jump, I go and I grab them, I said, don't do that, and the elder apostle just smiled. And so anyway, after that, I gathered my wife and kids up, and dreams switch scenes, and so all of a sudden I was back at my house with my wife and the children, and my wife was very pleasing, to me, like humble, like nice, okay, which us brothers in the truth, we catching hell in this life, right? And our women are not cooperating, right? And many of us have faced separation, divorce, going through divorce and losing everything, or at the very minimum, half of what you have. And when you have a wife, if you're a man, and if you're a sister and you're in the truth, and you divorce or something happens between you and your husband, after you've been married a long time, 15, 20, 30 years plus, whatever the case may be, your lives become intertwined. And it's hard to separate that, okay? It's very difficult, to separate yourself. You may get a piece of paper from a court that says that you are divorced, but that's not the end, because you have to find a way to, separate the bills, the mortgage, the deeds, the insurances. You have to separate everything. You got to clear out the house. You got to do all these different things in this wicked society, in order for a divorce. Basically, it may be final on paper, but it's not final in your life. There's always, especially if you have children involved, you're always going to have a connection with that person. But in the spirit, it's like things were right, all right, at this time in the dream. And I, like I said, I was listening to the elder apostle Gabar's lesson, and I found it to be a very, very good, edifying lesson. I was like, that was a great lesson that he did, and like I said, I just fell into the dream of it, and I was so humbled in the dream, and he was such a humble man, and you could feel that brotherly love even within the dream. It was a dream in which it's one of those dreams that you have that you wish that you didn't wake up. That's how it felt. And so, matter of fact, let me read this first scripture. It's Matthew 10:34. It says, "Think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's foes shall be they of his own household. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me, and he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he that taketh not his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me. He that findeth his life shall lose it, and he that loseth his life for my sake shall find it," right? And so we know that the Lord is going through that process of really separating his elect, from all others, including in your own family. And it's touched my household as much as it has touched various other brothers who have done lessons on how things have gone between them and their wives, okay? And I'm no different, okay? This truth is something that these women do not want to deal with. They can't deal with it. And it makes being, coexisting with each other very difficult, and so it brings about various different contentions, all right, with each other. And eventually you find yourself separated, or divorced or in the process of such a thing, all right? But we know that this is par for the course, if you will, for lack of a better term, all right? So now, get back to the dream. After I woke up from the dream, I was pretty emotional from it because it was such a great feeling that I had within the dream. And I began to ponder about what it meant. And what came to me through the Spirit was, even though this is a point in time on this side where the Lord is separating his elect, Lord's will we be of the number, pulling you away from all of these things that are in the world, that the worldly people want and want to do. See, we're in the best position, though it is a hard position, okay? And I'm Ephraim, all right, a Parian. I'm so-called Puerto Rican, all right? And we know that Ephraim means what? To be bountiful or fruitful, double portion, fruitful. And so the extra child in my mind, in the spirit, meant that there was an increase in my life, and that things between myself and my family and my wife, everything was healed. So the whole point is that though you catch hell on this side, the Lord is going to restore us. And not only is he going to restore us, but he's going to increase us. And that's what I gathered through the spirit of what the dream meant to me, okay? And so we're just going to get a few scriptures here. This is Joel chapter 2 and verse 23. "Be glad then, ye children of Zion, and rejoice in the Lord Yahweh your power, for he hath given you the former rain moderately, and he will cause to come down for you the rain and former rain and the latter rain in the first month, and the floors shall be full of wheat, and the fats shall overflow with wine and oil. And I will restore to you the years that the locust hath eaten, and the cankerworm, and the caterpillar, and the palmer worm, my great army which I sent among you. And ye shall eat in plenty, and be satisfied, and praise the name of the Lord Yahweh your power, that hath dealt wondrously with you, and my people shall never be ashamed. And ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel, and that I am the Lord Yahweh your power, and none else. And my people shall never be ashamed." Right. So we're getting to a point now. This hard part of this hard life is almost over, and we're not going to be put to shame ever again. And in that dream, um, I could see the restoration, right? And I could see the increase of my children. I could see the restoration of the family unit through the Spirit, healing amongst our people when we get there. That's how I pretty much interpreted what I saw in the vision or in the dream that I had. And like I said, I've had dreams before that I met the apostle Tahar and bits and pieces. I remember that he as well, and I never did a video about that. I'm not real good with, I've always been a quiet, private person, and sometimes, you get these dreams and things, and you don't know whether you should say anything about it or not. But this one was real heavy for me this morning. That, emotionally, I had to wait a little while to kind of contain myself so I could at least get through the lesson. But it was such a humbling and peaceful experience in that dream to meet the elder apostle. And like I said, I grabbed him so tight. I don't know how big of a man he is, but I held on to him as tight as I could in the dream, and he gave me one of those big hearty laughs that he has, But anyway, let's go back over here to Revelation 21:4. Y'all forgive me because I'm just on the verge of crying now. Verse 4. And the Most High shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow, nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain. For the former things are passed away. And he that sat upon the throne said, Behold, I make all things new. And that's what I saw out of that vision, or that dream, out of the dream, that things was, that brothers, your lives will be healed, in the spirit. We're going to get everything back and then some. Okay, so we just got to hold on. Verse 5, and he that sat upon the throne said, Behold, I make all things new. And he said unto me, Write, for these words are true and faithful. And he said unto me, It is done. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. I will give unto him that is athirst of the fountain of the water of life freely. He that overcometh shall inherit all things, and I will be his power, and he shall be my son. And that's something that we have put our faith in, that we will be restored, all right? Though it be difficult right now, we just have to make it. All right, this is Jeremiah 30:1, and probably we'll read this and I'll close out. All right, Jeremiah 30:1, the word that came to Jeremiah from the Lord Yahweh, saying, Thus speaketh the Lord Yahweh, power of Israel, saying, Write thee all the words that I have spoken unto thee in a book. And we got it here in all the scriptures. Okay. For lo, the days come, saith the Lord Yahweh, that I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel and Judah, saith the Lord, and I will cause them to return to the land that I gave to their fathers, and they shall possess it. And these are the words that the Lord Yahweh spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah. For thus saith the Lord, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Ask ye now and see whether a man doeth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man that has his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. And y'all forgive me if I read a word wrong or so, okay? Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it, right? So we know these difficult times are coming, okay? And we can feel, basically, through the Spirit, the earth shaking beneath our feet, all right? because it's some very heavy things that's coming. For I shall come, Salakia, for it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him, but they shall serve the Lord Yahweh their power, and David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. See, so when we get in the kingdom, all things are going to be done. All things are going to be restored. We're going to have the Heavenly Father, Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, and then we're going to have King David and 144,000 governing body, and the rest of the elect, and 1/3, and eventually these 2/3 will come back in through the righteous men and women. You see, and all Israel will be saved. Everything will be restored to us and increased. Jeremiah 30:10, it says, Therefore fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith the Lord, neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return, and shall be in rest, and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. For I am with thee, saith the Lord, to serve thee. Though I make a full end of all nations whither I have scattered thee, yet will I not make a full end of thee, but I will correct thee in measure, and will not leave thee altogether unpunished, right? Because we served our time in captivity. There is none to plead thy cause, and that thou mayest be bound up. Thou hast no healing medicines. All thy lovers have forgotten thee. They seek thee not, for I have wounded thee with the wound of an enemy, with the chastisement of a cruel one, for the multitude of thine iniquities, because thy sins were increased. Why criest thou for thine affliction? Why sorrow, Salakia, thy sorrow is incurable for the multitude of thine iniquities, because thy sins were increased. I have done these things unto thee. So all the things that we have gone through as a nation of people, right? Even losing our heritage, all right, all of that. And these people not telling us who we are, leaving us dead in the street for 3.5 days, right? Not comforting us, but continuing to suffer, make us suffer, okay? All these things were done, for chastisement for us through the hand of our Father, all right? Verse 16, therefore all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them shall go into captivity, and they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. For I will restore health unto thee, and I will heal thee of thy wounds, saith the Lord, right? And that's what I saw in this dream, okay? The restoration. Because they called thee an outcast, saying, This is Zion, whom no man seeketh after. And here you see it right here, subtitled, Restoration of Jacob. Thus saith the Lord, Yahweh, behold, I will bring again the captivity of Jacob's tents, and have mercy on his dwelling places, and the city shall be builded upon her own heap, and the palace shall remain after the manner thereof. And out of them shall proceed thanksgiving in the voice of them that make merry, and I will multiply them, and they shall not be few. I will also glorify them, and they shall not be small. Their children also shall be as aforetime, and their congregation shall be established before me, and I will punish all that oppress them. And their nobles shall be of themselves, and their governors shall proceed from the midst of them, and I will cause them to draw near, and he shall approach unto me. For who is this that engaged his heart to approach unto me, saith the Lord? And ye shall be my people, and I will be your power. Behold, the whirlwind of the Lord goeth forth with fury, a continuing whirlwind. It shall fall with pain upon the head of the wicked, right? So the Lord, he has the enemies in sight, okay? And no matter how much goes on in this particular life right now, where we're waiting on Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. We take the pains of that are distributed amongst us, right? And we know that in the grand scheme of things, this truth has separated, right, through the power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, separated his elect, all right, from various different family members, right? Everything under the sun, you name it, the truth in our lives mean everything. This truth means everything to us who believe in it. And with that, it caused separation. But all things are going to be for the good, right? And when this time comes and the Lord will restore us, all right? Because this is a promise. It's a promise of the kingdom coming to Jacob, okay? And restoration and healing, all right? Last verse, the fierce anger of the Lord shall not return until he have done it, and until he have performed the intents of his heart. In the latter days ye shall consider it, right? So we consider now the restoration of Jacob, right? And that's pretty much what I got out of the dream that I had this morning of meeting the elder apostle Gabar. And as I said, I believe, because I was listening to his lesson wee hours of the morning and fell asleep on it, that I had this particular dream that things were restored between myself and my family and increased, all right? And that there was so much peace and humility, in this short dream, that it was one of those dreams where you didn't want to wake up. Okay, and for me, it was emotional. All right, so I just wanted to give my testimony on that dream. Lord willing, it's comforting to anybody that watches this video, that we will be restored. We're on the right track. Okay, the men that we've learned from, the men that we continue to learn from, the men that the Lord has set up for us, these are the men. Okay. There's no doubt about it. These are the men whom the Lord has given us to learn and to follow, to gain this truth. And those of us who are teachers and prophets, we've entered into their labors, okay. And they're due their double honors. They're humble men. And like I said, I've never met them in person. But the few dreams that I had where I did meet them, even in my dream, their humility was at a level that it's just really unexplainable. It's just, you have a dream about it, and I couldn't, when I woke up, I just couldn't get over the emotion that I had, right? So we're on the right track, okay? And the Lord is doing his thing, right, in the midst of us. We suffer a loss right now, but as it says here this is part of the prophecy, restoration of Jacob. Okay, so with that, I'll end it right there. Lord willing, this is, like I said, something that's comforting to anybody else that may be going through some things in your life. The restoration is going to come along with the increase in healing. All right, with that, I'll end the lesson right there. Shalom.